Chloe Davis, your host of the Untold Miracles podcast, and today I am so excited. I am in Salt Lake City in the national office with one of our very, very, very special miracle kids, Miss Chloe Davison.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You know, I got to meet you a couple years ago. You were the 2015-16 champion from Oregon.
Yes.
And you have had a personal journey and story with cancer.
Yes, I have.
So I want to know, how old were you when you got diagnosed?
I was 5 years old.
What was going on in your life at the time?
I was a dancer. I was always doing dance, gymnastics, and soccer. And my mom, she noticed that I was like having my ankles hurt. So we went to the doctors, and the doctor said I had a hairline fracture in my right ankle. So they put me on crutches for a week. But that didn't change because I was still hurting, and it started going to my knees, then my rib cage, then my hips, and my arms, and everywhere pretty much. And it was just hurting so bad, and all of the doctors were saying it was just growing pains, but my mom didn't think it was.
So your mom had some intuition that there was something bigger going on than that. So what did she do at that time? Did she find another doctor, or how did you?
So she went to a lot of doctors, including adult doctors, and they all said it was just growing pains. My mom looked up online the best pediatric oncologist in the neck of the woods where we were at, and so we found one at Asante Rogue Regional, which is where I met my favorite doctor, Dr. Plummer. So she went there. My Dr. Plummer said that she thought it was just growing pains too, but she did see that maybe there was something else going on, like lack of growth or something like that. So she was going to do a bone marrow on me. And so she did, and my mom got a call around she was making us these really good burritos that she always makes. And there is an important part about the burritos.
Okay.
Later on in the story.
Okay.
So me and my brother were eating, and she got the call, and she went into her room, and I heard her say, okay, and then she came out. And my brother saw that there was something wrong with her, so my brother went into her room again with her, and she told him first. And so my mom told me it was really hard for her and that she was crying. She had to call my dad and tell him because he was at work at the time. And my brother and my mom had to sit me down and tell me what was going on with me. And I didn't understand at the time. I was only 5 years old. They had to explain it to me, and so I went through treatment. I had a PICC line, then a port. They were doing all these things to me. It just increased things. Like when I got sick, I had to go to the hospital. When I had a fever, I had to go to the hospital.
Because your immune system was really
so
low from the chemo. Tell me what it was like. You were 5 years old. You are told that you have cancer. You don't really know what it is, but you're going to the hospital and getting chemo treatments every week. What were you thinking at that time? Like, how painful was that?
It hurt really bad, and my mom had to actually tell me when I was 7 years old what was going on. And so they had to do all these things to me. I remember once I had to go up to Dornbecker because I had it wasn't like a full-on seizure, but it was a seizure. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's what they called it. I don't remember. But I think it was like something like that, or my heart rate was really, really low. And I was getting really, really sick, they said. So they had to strap me down in one of those things and fly me all the way to Portland. Mm. That was my first flight, by the way. And that next week we were going to Disney World, so it's like, okay.
Oh, my goodness.
So it was just these little things that turned into big things. Like when you get the flu, you stay in bed. You don't go to school. Mm-hmm. But with me, it was totally different. And I couldn't go to school. I had a tutor. And when I was 8, I was on a podcast, and I told my story, like this one.
For your radio station?
Yeah, for our radio station.
Uh-huh.
And so I was on it, and I had my manager, Kevin, and I had the host of the radio on there, and they were talking to me, and so I said all these lines, and I told my story, and they told me, do you know what a champion child is? And I was like, no. And they told me, would you like to be one? And I was so excited. I was like, yeah, even though I didn't know what it was. So they took a commercial break, and they had to explain to me what it was, and that's when they told me, and I understood what was going on. So that year, they flew us out to Atlanta. We went to Disney World. It was pretty fun. I got to tell my story, met many new friends.
Yeah, so our Champions program, we've been doing this, I think, since 1996, and every year we pick a kid from each state that's been treated at our children's hospitals to represent the 10 million kids that we treat at our 170 children's hospitals across the country. We've changed that program up a little bit this year. You're actually the 2018 champion. We have fewer champions this year, but we're excited because we want people to get to know these kids on a very personal level and to know your story. And I want to know what it was like, Chloe, when you found out after 3 years of treatment that you are cancer-free.
I was excited because I knew I wasn't going to get poked as much. Like, first it was every month I had to get my blood drawn. Then it was every 3 months. And I'm at the every 3 months mark right now. And in March, it will be every 6 months. And then next year, it will be every year.
Oh my goodness, that is so exciting. So what do you think was the hardest part for you having cancer?
I think it was just like all the needles. And now, whenever I smell that smell of alcohol, I instantly feel like I'm gonna faint. That's something that's always bothered me. Like we went, my mom let me get my nails done, and the girl was taking off my old nail polish that I had that my mom did on me, and I instantly felt like I was gonna faint because she was using alcohol. And it's just little things like that that affect me.
What do you think was the biggest thing that you learned from having cancer?
To not give up. That you can make it through even if you feel like you can't.
What is your definition of a miracle?
Let's say that a plane crashed. A miracle is that everybody lives. There's always a survivor. There's always a fighter. Even if you can't survive it, you know that you fought for it in the end. And these things don't happen just to happen. They happen for a reason. Because there could have been something worse down the road.
What do you think is the reason that you experience cancer?
To make me stronger, because I was the one that was always bullied because I was really scrawny and short, so of course I was always bullied and told that I don't deserve these things, and it was just cruel kids, I guess you could say. Like, I've had a bully since kindergarten, and she's tried to copy me. She said that she was an actor or dancer, which she's not, and she just lies. She tries to copy everything I do. She tries to say that she's famous-ish, because a lot of people know me. Like, I've gotten recognized in the store. It's like...
You are a celebrity, definitely, in your community. So how does that help you handle the bullying?
It just helps me kind of be like, I feel bad for the person, actually. It's like, why are you jealous? My life is not any better than yours. Your
favorite thing about meeting all of these different kids that have different challenges, what's been your favorite thing from that?
It's my favorite thing is to, like, just understand what they went through. Like, and I don't look at them differently. They all look the same in my eyes. I don't care if someone has to be on a breathing tube. I don't care if someone doesn't look as other people look, because we're all normal. We're all the same. We're just stronger, and we're fighters, and we're survivors.
Do you want to tell me a story of a personal miracle kid that you've met, and maybe some of the ones that you've been hanging out with? Yesterday, we've been hanging out with 10 kids. Is there one in particular that you would want to share their story and what you've learned from them?
Carly, because she's just sweet. She doesn't care if she's, I guess you could say, she's tiny. Yeah, different tiny.
She has progeria,
Yeah.
which is a very rare disease, and she is 7 years old and the cutest kid ever.
Yes. She's just so sweet, and she doesn't care. She's independent.
Uh-huh.
Like, you think she would be, like, insecure a little bit. She's not.
No.
And I love how she's just outgoing and doesn't care. Like, she wants to go swimming and stuff like that. She wants to run around and do things. Like, she's a real survivor. She's actually someone that I would look up to, because she's just so outgoing. She doesn't have a care in the world.
No, she is a special kid. So tell me, Chloe, what's the biggest miracle that's happened in your life?
Surviving cancer.
And I believe that a miracle is when God bends the laws in your favor.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's just like something shouldn't happen. Lots of times in our hospitals, these parents are told their kids aren't going to survive. And then, you know what? Time and time and time again, these kids prove that miracles happen every day. So, Chloe, who would you say is the biggest miracle worker in your life?
I'd say my mom and my dad.
And why is that?
They're just always telling you can make it through, even if there's something different, even if there's something not normal, even if you're not the normalest kid. Like, I still get made fun of because I had cancer at school, but I seriously don't care anymore, because I look at the people and I say, you try to act like you're all big and tough, but you're not. You don't know
Why
what
don't
it's
you
like.
try to kick cancer's butt?
Yeah, you don't know what it's like to be all big and tough, because you're not.
Right. What is it that you are most excited about in life right now?
Going to Disney World. I'm really excited about that, because I'm going to be going to Disney World in March.
Yes.
And then in October, my friend invited me to go to Disneyland with her for Halloween.
Oh, my goodness. So you're 10 years old, right?
Yes.
When's your birthday?
May 20th.
May 20th. Tell me what your dreams are when you grow up. I know you have several.
I either want to be a pediatric oncologist, a professional dancer, or this one that they're like part of the FBI, but not all the way. Like they dedicate their lives to search for missing kids.
Yeah.
And find them, and try to track them down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good idea, because I was hearing about this watch that connects to your parents' phone, and they can track you where you are.
That's really
And
good.
I think every single kid should have that.
I agree with you. I think you missed one. At least I'd like you to say one. What about being an actress? Because you are an actress right now. You've been on a lot of stages as a lot of different characters, and you really are amazing. What are your dreams around acting?
I would like to become an actress. Like, that is my actual fourth. I think, I know they make a lot of money. I love acting. It's my personal favorite.
Yeah.
And I think that would be one that I would like to try.
Yeah. Well, tell me, you've met a lot of actors and actresses, and just last year you met Chris Pine and you met Kristen Bell. Tell me what it was like to meet them.
It was just like, whoa. Because they're real life actors. Like, I've met famous people before, like Miss America, all that stuff. But they seemed like real actors. Like, when you see actors out on the street, you don't look at them and go, oh, that's an actor. But when you look at someone that you know and that is famous, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, they were so nice that day. Also, you got to meet Zendaya.
Yes.
She's doing quite a bit of acting too.
I know. She was just in The Greatest Showman.
Did you see that?
Yes. It was so good.
Oh.
Like, I'd be scared to do that.
Well, I think that's where you're headed. Well, I have a couple more questions for you before we end. What's a piece of advice that you would give to kids that are going through hard times right now in the hospital? Because you've been there and you've done that.
Yeah, keep on fighting. Don't give up, because if you give up, then you won't be able to do many things like I get to do. Like, I've gotten to be in movies. I've gotten to be a champion child 2 times. And you may get chosen for this, but you got to fight. You can't give up. Like, times may be hard right now, but don't give up.
On the really hard days, how did you get through?
I would just always think on the bright side, and I would just, like, play games and get my mind off of things.
Okay, so we have a couple just fun questions that we're going to ask before we end the podcast, okay? I want to know what your favorite movie is.
The Greatest Showman right now.
It is? Okay, yeah. I want to know your favorite.
Either that or La La Land.
La La Land. I want to know your favorite TV show.
Ooh, that's hard. Either Stuck in the Middle or Casey Undercover.
Yeah.
Those are my two favorites right now.
And I want to know your favorite actress.
My two favorites are Zendaya and Jenna Ortega.
And I want to know, if you could have a superpower, what would that be?
Invisibility, so I can trick my mom.
All right, Chloe, so there's one last question on the podcast.
Yes.
And before I ask you, first of all, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show, because
thank you.
You inspire so many people. Chloe, you inspire me so much. I am so blessed and honored to know you and to be able to call you my friend, and just to get to hang out with you yesterday was such a blessing in my life, because you truly are. I just don't think you understand the inspiration that you are to everybody you meet. And you're so loving and kind, and you have a personality larger than life. So I just want to thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Okay, the last question. If there were 3 miracles that you could create in the world today, what would that be for you?
Every kid that has cancer could survive. That my dogs could live forever.
Oh, that's a good one, Chloe.
Yeah.
That is a really good one.
Scooper passed away, and I really miss him. So, and then Poppy, he's just the active little pug, and I don't want him to die. Yeah, he still has a long time, but. And my third is maybe to I think to succeed in school and to be able to go to college.
That's so great. Well, Miss Chloe, you are a superstar.
Thank you.
I want people to remember listening to this podcast. So if you didn't know who Chloe was before now, you will definitely know who she is in the future, because she's got a big, bright future ahead of her. Thank you, Chloe.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the amazing Chloe Davison's podcast episode. She is a champion for Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, and we are very grateful to have Ace Hardware be a sponsor of our Champions program. And please welcome to the podcast the president of the Ace Hardware Foundation, Kane Calamari.
Hey, thanks, Kelly. Glad to be joining you today.
Well, I really appreciate your time. We are so grateful for Ace Hardware. Since 1991, you have been raising funds for our 170 children's hospitals, and you've raised over $93 million, which is an incredible number, and it's hard to even wrap your brain around that number and the millions of kids that's helped. But tell me why Ace likes being a partner with Children's Miracle Network Hospitals.
Yeah, it's a great question. We go back, and I always say that I think the beginning of this 26 years ago is we had folks on our team here that thought about, boy, what charity is out there that's national in scope but allows us to really partner with local charities. And when we found Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, we thought this is just perfect. It's a national organization, but the fact that our retailers, the 4,300 domestic stores, can actually see their dollars going to those local hospitals. And you think about our brand, and I think the reason they picked CMN way back then was because our brand forever, for 93 years since the company started, stands for helpful. I mean, our folks, we live and breathe helpful in the stores, and if you think about what the hospitals do day in and day out, and their helpful is a lot more important than ours, but still the concept is they're helping kids and families. We're in local communities helping families solve home improvement problems. We thought it's a perfect tie-in, and the fact that our stores can connect with a local hospital makes it, we really believe, a really magical partnership that we're incredibly proud of.
Well, last week we were together in Hawaii at the Ace Hardware Golf Shootout. It raised $2.2 million for Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, and it airs March 26th on the Golf Channel, I think at 5:30 Eastern Time. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And when we were at the event, you talked about how Ace Hardware got started, and I thought it was a fascinating story, and I would like you to share that story with our listeners.
Yeah, our company started in 1924, and it was 4 shopkeepers in Chicago, 4 folks that owned small retail establishments, and they sat down at a table one day and started talking about how to improve their businesses. And what they came up with is they said, well, if we can work together and leverage scale and buy product together, we can lower our costs and save money. They did exactly that. And interestingly enough, the first thing they bought together, the four of them got together and they bought a truckload of sponges. And so we always joke that back in 1924, the beginning of our company was one truckload of sponges. Fast forward 93 years, and across the globe, we're about a $12 billion retailer. We've got over 5,000 stores in 65 countries. And really the backbone, the premise of the company is exactly the same as it was 93 years ago. It's about leveraging scale. It's about small businesses getting together and working together to buy product in quantity. And by doing that, we have a great chance to compete and win.
I love that. And I just have to share, in my hometown, there's 2,000 people, and the best store that we have in our community is Ace Hardware. And it's incredible that in my little tiny town, we have Ace Hardware, and that's where you go. When you need something, they are the helpful place. So I'm super grateful for Ace Hardware. I do want to talk to you, Kane, about some of the ways that Ace Hardware raises money. We talked about the Ace Hardware Golf Shootout, which over the years, this is our 22nd year, and do you know the number on how much we've raised?
For the golf shootout, it's been over $21 million over the years.
Wow. So the other $70 million, how has Ace Hardware raised that money for local children's hospitals?
Yeah, we go about it. There's three different, it's kind of a three-pronged strategy. Well, I'll start with our retailers. So the folks that own the stores, they also own Ace Hardware since we're a cooperative. They work, and they do it in a lot of different ways. It could be a golf outing. It's change Roundup, which is at POS, where we're asking for change to help the hospitals. It could be a barbecue in the parking lot. They do it in a myriad of ways, and our retailers over the last 5 years have gone from $800,000 in total donations to over $5.8 million in 2017, and literally it comes in all sorts of different cool ways, car washes, whatever they can come up with. Our stores are doing a great job connecting with the community and driving dollars towards CMN. That's one group. Our vendor partners, who are the folks that were with us in Hawaii at the shootout, they do a great job as well. It's about $4.5 million comes from our vendor partners, whether that's Duracell, whether that's 3M or GE or Milwaukee Tool, all sorts of great vendor partners, and they believe in the cause. They love supporting our company, but they also love supporting CMN. And then the third prong to the strategy is our corporate team and our retail support center. So all of the folks that work for Ace Hardware, we're generating funds, payroll deductions. We do it with yard sales. We do it in lots of different ways. So all three of those work really well for us, and we're gathering money and finding ways to collect money in lots of different ways, which I think makes it kind of exciting and fun.
Well, at the end of the day, Ace Hardware does this because they want to help save kids' lives. And I know over the years you've had many experiences meeting these kids and their amazing miracle stories. Would you mind sharing a child that's really impacted your life, maybe Parker Grelecki?
Yeah, so Parker's one of our Ace Alls. 2015, he was our national Ace CMN All-Star. So every year we choose a child and a family, and we say we're going to rally around this family. This is going to remind all of us what a great cause this is. And Parker he's such a great example that although he was our 2015 All-Star, we asked him to come to the shootout last week because he's an incredible ambassador for CMN, but he's also an incredible ambassador for Ace Hardware. He was a child that was born with something called encephalitis. And I won't go into the details because I really can't, but a lot of challenges when he was born. In fact, his parents were told he's never going to walk and he's never going to talk. And last week, to spend many days with him at the shootout, and you watch the energy this young child has and the sports knowledge that he has. He had so much fun with our celebrities last week. That's how we connect people to the cause. We do it through kids and families who say that this is why we do it, because kids like Parker, who were told when they were born because of the incredible challenges he had, are probably not going to have a great chance at maybe living, let alone if he does live, he may not walk, he may not talk, and you look at what's happened to him and how he's just fought those challenges for so many years. That's the inspiration. That's why our vendors support us, that's why our retailers support us, and that's why at corporate we're so excited about being partners with CMN.
Well, and I think if you asked all of our celebrities and vendors who were at the event last week what their favorite part of the entire week was, it would be meeting Parker Grelecki. And I have to tell you a funny story, Kane. You may have heard this through the grapevine, but we were out on the golf course and we had a setup, and Parker was doing interviews with the celebrities, and he was interviewing team basketball Shane Battier and Clyde Drexler. And he asked Clyde when his birthday was, and Clyde gave the date, and Parker goes, "Wow, and you're still alive?" It was so funny. But this kid, he captivates a room. He got up on stage and told his story at the reception on Tuesday night with his father, and he has beaten all of the odds. But what I loved most about the week is your vendors. I would say their favorite part was meeting Parker Galecki, not the celebrities. Parker was the celebrity, and they went out of their way to make this child feel like he was the reason why they were there. And it really was the reason why they were there, but they gave so much love. And it just goes to show the vendors at Ace Hardware care so much about helping kids' lives. And we're so grateful for that.
I would say the biggest impact over the last 2 years for us has been Change Roundup. And basically in over 1,000 of our stores, and it's growing every day, we do special promotions. We're at the register. People that, if it's $10.48, the system right there says, do you want to give 52 cents to your local hospital? It goes to the local hospital. That's generated in 2017. Change Roundup at just 1,000 of our stores generated $2.5 million. So we're going to encourage more of our stores to embrace the program, and obviously consumers, as they're walking into our stores, buying hardware products and solving problems. We're really hoping that they say, yeah, let's give that change, because it's amazing how change can add up to so many dollars. So that's probably the number one biggest push we're going to have here at ACE in 2018.
Well, and I love it, Kane, because it's amazing how this change can create change in a child's life. That's incredibly cool. Well, thank you again, Kane. I want to acknowledge you for everything that you do. We are so grateful for Ace Hardware, and we look forward to many more years of a great partnership. Thanks, Kane.
Thanks,
we appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.